Well, hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. It's a Monday night, and it's time to talk Purdue basketball with our Purdue Basketball Live program. I'm Rob Blackman. I'll be your host for this evening. We're talking both Purdue men's basketball tonight and Purdue women's basketball as well. The women's basketball head coach, Gearlds, will be joining me in the second half hour of this program. She'll join me from 7 until 7:30 tonight. For the first 30 minutes, it'll be assistant coach Terry Johnson from the Purdue men's program. And do we have a lot to talk about with both Coach Gearlds and Coach Johnson. For our Boilermakers on the men's side, I think you probably already know the narrative. 4 straight losses for Purdue. First time that's happened to our men's team in 5 years. So what's it going to take for our Boilermakers to get back on track, get back to the winning ways, and more importantly, win a home game this coming Friday night against UCLA? We'll talk to Coach Johnson about that, get his thoughts on that. And with Coach Gearlds, boy, what a week coming up for them. Final 2 regular season games of the year, and it truly is win or go home week for our Boilermakers on the women's side. If they want to make it to the women's basketball tournament in the Big Ten, they're going to need a couple of W's in the ledger come up the next 2 games, with games on the road at Penn State and also with a game at home against Indiana on Sunday. So a lot of stuff to talk about tonight when it comes to Purdue basketball. We thank you for joining us this evening. Maybe if you found us the old-fashioned way on the radio, or if you're listening on the Varsity Network app, maybe you're watching online somehow, some way. We thank you for finding us. One quick note before we take our first break. This is our second to last show of the year. I know it is hard to believe, but the month of March is almost here, fans. March Madness is almost upon us. Our final show of the season will be next Monday, which is the first Monday in March, right back here at Walk-Ons at 6:30 next Monday night. Coach Painter, Coach Gearlds will join me for the final show of the year. So next week is it. How quickly time flies. We started this way back in November, and here we are, 1 show left, which will be next Monday night at 6:30 here from Walk-Ons. As always, our Purdue Basketball Live show is brought to you by GEMCO Constructors. GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and a proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says boiler up. We return in a moment to talk with Coach Terry Johnson. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. And this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Very strong from the outside, below 30% of the season, worst three-point shooting team in the Big Ten. Zapawa got free again. First came over on the help, knocked it away. Kohler late clock stripped.
C.J. Cox, and now a run out.
The leak out to Smith for the deuce.
And that's what Purdue did not get against Wisconsin.
Hoffman ran against Cooper. Spin. And somehow gets it to go.
That is a varsity level finish there. Trey Kaufman-Wren is going to go to work. Purdue fans going to love seeing him get to that baseline side.
Quick pace to this game in the early going. Purdue already with 4 second chance points. They won't need any here. Braden Smith, that's his moment. Smith will slow it down. Trying to find some organization with this group. Drives on Holloman. Smith to his spot for the bucket. Holloman. Lob it. Carter! Oh, he couldn't catch it cleanly and then had it stripped. Holloman nearly had the steal. Now an advantage for Purdue. Smith to Harris. His 3-ball. Money. Kohler kept it alive, but Smith comes away with it. Numbers of Purdue hurries. Lawyer thought about it.
Good
Bird
pass.
all alone.
Get the good help, though. Michigan State going to that Spain action.
Heidi. Bullseye.
They're just not guarding it.
Kaufman-Wren steps up. Holloman on the outside. 8 to shoot. Doubled in the corner. Holloman ripped through. Inside Fiddler. Over a double. Rejected. 8-point ball game. Purdue, 48% from the floor. Just 5 of 13 from downtown. 6 of 8 from the line. Kaufman-Wren. That's a strong take.
I love that action that Purdue runs.
Largest lead for the Spartans tonight. Smith. Oh, that's ridiculous. Michigan State up to 75% from the floor in this second half. Kaufman-Wren through the contact and a chance for 3. At Breslin Center so far. Kaufman-Wren kick. Can Heidi do it?
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO, live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat free on Tuesdays. Rob Blackman is my name. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and making us a part of your Monday night. Again, next Monday will be the final show of the season, 6:30 here at Walk-Ons. We'll start with Purdue men's basketball, and then the second half hour we'll talk Purdue women's basketball. But to join me to talk Purdue men's hoops is assistant coach Terry Johnson, kind enough to be a part of our program tonight. Coach Johnson, let's not sugarcoat it. Let's jump right in here. A 4-game losing skid for our Boilermakers. First time in 5 years that has happened. And you and I were just talking a little bit during the commercial break. Look, no one in that Purdue basketball office or in that locker room right now is happy about the direction this thing is trending. That's the bad news. The good news, and help me if I'm wrong here, but I don't believe there's anywhere written in the NCAA rulebook for college hoops that says if you have a 4-game losing streak, you're forced to forfeit the rest of the season.
No,
am I correct? I don't know the rulebook that well, but
there's no rule like that I'm aware of.
So we do have a chance to move forward here from a coaching perspective. Number one, where have you seen the deficiencies in this skid? And number two, and more importantly, how do we now move forward and get this thing fixed starting Friday night with UCLA?
Probably our biggest deficiency is it's on the defensive side, obviously. Giving up a lot of easy baskets as a defensive coach, right?
Yeah,
that's my area.
Sure, understood.
You take it a little personal when you're not being upheld. It's just being consistent, right?
Yeah.
We make a lot of silly mistakes, or Coach Painter likes to say concentration mistakes.
Right.
And you can't have that over and over, especially when you're playing really good teams and you're late in February.
Yeah.
Right. But the league is tough. We might have got a little comfortable, right?
Sure.
We get a little comfortable, and then you got teams that if we beat Purdue, like we could help our cause.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I think we will bounce back. I kind of been in this position a little bit before.
Yeah. Would you mind speaking on that? You and I, again, were speaking about this commercial break, and also I'll let you share it with the listeners. You were in a similar situation as an assistant at Butler. You guys are coming off a national championship appearance, and you hit the skids for a short time also that next season, right? Before rallying.
Yeah, we hit a skid probably a little bit sooner, like late January we hit that skid. And you have it coming to Jesus. Mm-hmm. We had that today. A lot of guys met with Coach today. So a few will meet tomorrow. But at the end of the day, it's us coming together as a unit and get back to playing Purdue basketball and being consistent in our work.
Yeah.
And having fun with it.
Sure.
Coach always talk about make your hard work fun. And then it's the same thing back in 2010 or 11. I can't remember what year it was. The guys got together, had a meeting. Some of the guys started with themselves. We talk about it. We laugh all the time. Yeah. And then just took off.
Right.
Now I'm saying that we're going to do this here. It's going to be hard.
Sure. We
got UCLA coming in here, and we just got to roll our sleeves up, get back playing Boilermaker basketball. Our guys went on a run before it, and they earned it, right? It was earned. You got to earn every win. And these last 4, we haven't put consistent minutes together, especially from the defensive side, defensive point, to where we could win a game.
For the record, the season that Coach Johnson is talking about for Butler, after they hit the skids in late January, they never lost again until the national championship game against UConn. Not saying that's going to happen with our Boilermakers this year, fans. I'm making no promises. I'm saying if there's any guy that's been in this situation before, it's the guy that is sitting to my right. To carry on about what you're talking about, consistency, that's probably the one thing that had me the most irritated, if that's the right word, yesterday afternoon, Coach Johnson, is defensively. Purdue was so good in the first half, especially the last 8 minutes, and I'd been to a couple practices, so I knew what the plan was defensively, and I could see you guys executing it almost to perfection, and I thought to myself, yes, this is what it's supposed to look like. But then in the second half, I don't know what happened. They just kind of went away from it for whatever reason.
Yeah, sports.
Yeah, sports, I guess.
It's sports, and when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
and they're at home. It's a rivalry game, right? You're not going to be an easy walk. It's fun. It's not fun getting embarrassed, though. That wasn't fun.
Right.
But just from a competitive standpoint, you want to be in those environments. You want to come out on the other end. And I think our guys, like, a few of them walked around. And they moping. We moped. I yelled last night. But at the end of the day, the sun came up. I woke up. I got a great job I'm going to. Yeah. And I get to watch basketball. Good Lord. That's rough, right?
Hey. Quit putting this in perspective, would you? We're supposed to all be down in the dumps here. What's wrong with you?
I get to help young men grow, right?
Yeah.
This is part of their growth too.
Yeah.
Right? Not just from a basketball standpoint, but when they're done, like when they go in the workforce, like everybody's not going to play pro basketball.
Right.
Or when they get their families, got to provide for their family. Just because I got my butt whooped, I got to wake up.
Yeah, right.
I got to wake up. I got to provide.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good.
Well, you talked about waking up and moving on. Today being a new day, you also mentioned there were some individual meetings with players earlier today. I would not ask for you to divulge.
I wasn't in those, so.
Oh. But you have a general idea of what the talking points were, and they would be what?
We have to come together and be more consistent as a group. We got to just fight a little bit more together.
Yeah.
And then like I talked about earlier, being consistent in what we do, doing your job. Like Coach always talk about, just do our rules. Our rules offensively, our rules defensively will take care of a lot of stuff we weren't able to go over. Because you can't go over everything a team does.
Sure.
Like everybody has different players. All players have different strengths. Coach Painter had built this program for a long time, and he knows what every player's strength and weaknesses is. And so defensively, he put it in a way that everybody could be successful.
Yeah.
But if there's one person or two people not doing their job, boom, it all goes. I mean, I don't want to say bad words up here, but it all goes not in a good way.
You wouldn't be the first to say a bad word on this radio program. More with Coach Johnson in a moment. I do want to talk about the X's and O's of defense when we come back, because Coach Johnson is one of our defensive coaches for Purdue basketball. So stick around for that. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. And this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
You got to watch Braden Smith, because if you go drop coverage, he's one of the best players in the country at pulling up off the dribble. You got a steal there.
And C.J. Cox lays it in. Kaufman-Renn inside, tied up by Renew, and Kaufman-Renn wins that battle.
For Purdue during this 3-game losing streak, defending the paint. They got hammered against Michigan State on Tuesday, outscored 42-24 inside. Can't do anything about it.
Indiana doubling up Purdue in points in the paint. They lead by 6. Smith looking for his first field goal, and he's got it.
There's Smith over to Heidi for 3. And that one is good. Renew to Ballo, couldn't catch the pass, and taken away by the Boilers.
And they really did a good job converging on him there.
And Royer knocks it down. Royer working through the screen. Now Colvin for 3. Yes! Smith over Goody for 3.
It's like Goody was surprised about this guy, Braden Smith, one of the best point guards in the nation.
Ballo has position, but coming over to take it away is Colvin. Great play by the sophomore from Indianapolis. Now on the other end, can he hit a 3? He can! Now Smith will reset with the shot clock at 7. Lawyer a 3. Big one for Purdue. Smith looking for help. Shot clock down to 4. Cox drives inside, and the follow is there. Looked like First got a hand on it. And it's grabbed by Cox.
That's the one guy they have that you say, okay, you can shoot that.
Cox inside on Ballo. No.
We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. Rob Blackman, my name. Assistant Coach Terry Johnson from the Purdue men's basketball program is my guest. Up next for Purdue, there's only 2 home games remaining, fans. And the first of those comes Friday night against UCLA at Mackey Arena. It's an 8 o'clock tip-off. Coach Johnson, I want to continue down the path of defense, because that is what you and Coach Lusk spend 99.9% of your time working on with our ball club. The great irony to me is in January, Purdue was so good defensively, led the league in points allowed in the month of January, led the league in turnovers forced. Those 2 numbers have unfortunately gone the other direction in the month of February. Now, the good news, February is almost over, so we'll get this February out of the way. But, and I know this is a simple question that requires a complicated answer, but what has changed since January? Because Purdue was so good defensively in that month of January.
I mean, like, you could just say it's human nature, right? You've been playing really well. Now you're going against still tough teams in the Big Ten. And we're in the world of social media.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Everyone, you're doing great. Everybody tell you how great you are.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Right now we're not doing too well. Everybody telling us how bad we are, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find that happy medium, and like, you can't live on how people tell you how great you're doing. You just got to be balanced. Like, we still got work to do. We can still get better. And for our group, obviously losing Zach Edey, Mason Gillis, they covered up a lot of things, and they
Sure.
were older and played in a lot of games.
Right,
We're
right.
still fairly young.
Yeah.
Our guys had a lot to figure out in the fall, in the early on, and then they figured out it and had a run. Now we hit a little rut. We just got to figure it out again. And I'm a firm believer of the game honor toughness.
Sure.
All right, and you got to be consistent in your toughness, especially on the defensive side, and that's just doing your job.
Yeah.
Doing your job every single time to the best of your ability. And we just talk about, are we going to be the first to lose balls? Are we going to box out? All right? Are we going to talk? That's probably the biggest issue with our squad.
Yeah.
Is communication. I mean, we know my kids right now, they got their cell phones, they text and everything. I'll be ready to yell at them. I say, yell back at me. I just want you to talk.
Sure.
All right?
Sure.
And our guys know that. We talk about it every day.
Right.
So that's probably our biggest issue. But then you got to be consistent as a group.
Right. So you mentioned Zach Edey, and certainly, hey, look, it is not lost on any basketball fan, whether they're extremely knowledgeable or a novice, to know that when you lose the two-time reigning National Player of the Year, there might be a bit of a rebuilding process. But on the defensive side, I looked back at the numbers last week, Terry. Zach was at 84 blocks. I think it was 84 for the season last year. I think our top shot blocker right now is at 8. Okay, 84 to 8. So it is a different philosophy or X's and O's just defensively, knowing that the big fella isn't back there protecting the rim?
The philosophy is still the same. You just can't have many small breakdowns.
Sure.
And you have to be in your position. And then when you're in position to make a play, we have to make the play.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of, I mean, like, you got to be nasty.
Yeah.
Like we're small in certain areas, but there's nothing to stop us from being nasty.
Yeah, yeah.
In a legal way.
Sure.
Let me correct.
Sure.
In a legal way.
Right,
All right.
right.
We're not trying to hurt anybody.
Right.
We're just trying to play hard so our fans, that blue-collar type fans we have, so they can enjoy watching us play every day.
I hear the defensive coaches, you and Coach Luss, harp on this all the time, Coach Painter as well. Keep the ball out of the paint.
Yes.
Look, easier said than done, I understand, but what are the teaching points to try to help the guys keep that ball out of the paint? Because the statistics would tell you, those that are into analytics, that ball gets into the paint, normally good things happen for the offense.
Yes. Like we want our guys to make them if they start driving the ball to the paint, obviously you got to put your chest on them, do it legally, and make them make the next play, which is out normally, right?
Sure.
But it also starts, you got to start in a stance. And then you got to start communicating as a group from the ones, you got people out in front defensively, then you got the ones in the behind. The ones behind can see the whole floor.
Right.
The one out front can't see, so the only way they're going to know is they're talking.
Sure. This group is not a real talkative group, is it?
No.
I mean, it's their personality, yes?
It's their personality, but they are very competitive.
Yeah.
They are competitive, and we're trying to, we harp on it. All we could do is harp on it.
Yeah.
Guys, talk.
Right.
The deal is they've done it before.
Yeah.
That's the deal. And that's good, right?
Yeah.
So we know we ain't got to reinvent anything.
Sure.
It's been done before. We just got to build that confidence in them that it's time to do it again.
And back to my original point, you saw great defense in January.
Yes.
So it's not like, well, we don't have a chance to be good on defense. No, we do. We've seen it.
Yeah. And it's concentration. Coach talk about it all the time. Concentrate on every situation that we have in front of us. Don't look ahead. Like right now, we can't look ahead. The only person I'm worried about, how can we beat UCLA?
Right.
That is it.
And that is Friday night, 8 o'clock, fans. More in 2 minutes as we come back on Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Looking at a single leg, he's got Rivera up.
And Rivera inside trips him and almost takes him to his back. I think he's able to possibly collect a takedown back on a neck wrench situation right there. And great bridge there by Ramos. How did he get out of that?
Moran trying to complete the movement. Stands him up, still has a hold of the leg. Ramos gets the trip and a three-point takedown. So Matt Ramos scores here just close to 2 minutes here in period number 1. Ramos quickly to his feet. Moran showing off a little bit of the strength, but Ramos is able to get out.
Ramos is in really good position here, actually, believe it or not. He's the one working up. If he can get his leg free, get that hold free, there's 3. On the aggressive move by Moran, Ramos turns it into points.
Crone trying to hold on around that waist. Is not going to be able to fend off the takedown this time.
That breaks the log jam.
And Ramos ended up with a tech fall. So, I mean, watch there. He's in deep on a single. Ramos already establishing position, just lightning quick as he takes the back. A down season for him, still spectacular, but he has certainly taken it to another level this year as he snatches that right leg of Riley and spins him down again. This could be trouble for Kalen Riley.
And that's going to be 3 takedown. And losing in the blood round for most would be a fantastic season. There's that cross wrist tilt again, Ethan.
Once again, spinning Riley's back toward the ground. The riding time accrued already over a minute.
Get the attempt here. Going to get a count under 15 seconds. And Matt Ramos will get a 4-point near fall. Continue his dominance here in 2024-2025. Going to get the big mat return. Airplane spin and takes him down. And gets the 3 points. And Ramos, with a little bit of flash, will finish off the victory 17-1. And he
2024-25 Purdue basketball season presented by Purdue Global. Earn a degree you'll be proud of with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults, and the preferred online university degree provider of the Guild and Team USA Learning Network. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. Rob Blackman here with Boilermaker men's assistant coach Terry Johnson. Joining me at the top of the hour will be Purdue women's head coach Katie Gearlds. We're live at Walk-Ons tonight in the Purdue Memorial Union for this week's edition of Purdue Basketball Live. It's brought to you, as always, by GEMCO. Well, I guess the good news, if there is some here, Coach Johnson, is the fact that Purdue played yesterday, Sunday, and doesn't play again until Friday night. Finally, there's enough of a break in the schedule. I hear some applause because even some of our folks in the athletic department that work behind the scenes have been, much like the basketball team, very busy.
Yeah.
There's a break here, a full week, not quite, to get back to basics defensively, right?
Yeah, that's going to help us. Obviously, this late in the year, you don't practice for a long period of time.
Yeah.
This is a good time for us just to get back to basics and doing our job. And it's the simple thing. It's not like it's magic. It's just doing your job, and it's the simple things within our program, within our defensive system, that we just have to get better at.
Yeah, and I think back to that, Purdue had the modest 2-game losing skid earlier in the season, lost to Texas A&M and then lost to Auburn, and when I say lost to Auburn, we got whooped. Let's all be honest here, folks. But that team, there was a long break there. If you'll remember, there was a long break coming out of that loss in Birmingham where this team could do a little soul-searching, more importantly, could do a little practicing. Yeah. I'm not saying the results are going to be the same, but, man, coming out of that coming out of the game in Birmingham, we were pretty good there for a while.
Yeah, it's good. Sometimes you have to get your rear and beat a little bit to wake up a little bit.
Sure, right.
But also it gives our guys some time to rest, some time to get away just a tad bit. Even though when I say they get away, some of them, they're still watching it. Or like today, I think a lot of our guys was in the gym getting shots up.
Sure.
Like we do have gym rats. We know we do have guys that care. And like I talked about earlier, the game honor toughness, we just got to do it and be more consistent in doing our job.
Can you teach toughness, or does that have to come from the individual player?
It's from the individual player, but it's within our program.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been here 4 years, but I've been watching Purdue for a long time.
Right.
And toughness that's the top with Coach Katie, and it just continue with Coach Painter. Like, you're not going to be at Purdue and you're not be tough. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
And we just got to do it and be more consistent with it.
Well, I know that you started already breaking down some UCLA film. You mentioned you were doing that last night. This is going to be quite a game, fans, on Friday night, because UCLA will enter with the exact same conference record as Purdue, and right now both teams are tied for 5th place in the league. This game can go a long way to not only keeping you in that top half of the league, but keeping you at least in the conversation for one of those top 4 seeds in a double bye. Identical conference records with Purdue and UCLA at 11-6. And more importantly, Terry, I would argue maybe defensively the best team we might play all year. I mean, UCLA is really stingy on defense, aren't they?
Yeah, yes, they are. And I don't watch that side much, but I know Mick Cronin.
Yeah.
He's a Midwest guy, and he was at Cincinnati. I faced him when he was at Cincinnati, when I was at Butler, and when I was at Ohio State. Like, his guys are going to play tough. It's going to be we're going to need our fans.
Sure.
Right? We're going to need everybody that loves Purdue basketball, and we need to just roll up our sleeves, and for the next 40 minutes, we know we get 40 for sure.
Right.
All right, and it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah. They also have a unique ball player, and I don't know the first name, so help me, Mara. 7'3".
7'3" Mara.
He has the arm span of what looks to be about, 18 feet. He is a tough matchup, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. No, he's extremely long. One good thing about it, like, our guys have faced that.
Yes, right. That's true.
Like Trey Kaufman, before Trey Kaufman came this year, he had to go against Zach Edey all the time. So,
Yeah.
like, that's good. But also, like, we got Daniel. The guy's
Sure.
seen it.
Yeah.
We got Will. Like, so, like I said, like, he's tough. Their guards are tough. They're coming full speed.
Sky Clark, who had been at Illinois, right? One of the best guards. He's becoming one of the best guards in our league.
Yep. They got an older group for the most part with some transfers. They got some kids that have been there with them a long time. So it's going to be fun. Like, it's going to be a fun atmosphere. I know that for a fact. Like,
we need to get back to having some
we
fun.
need to get back to having fun.
Let's try that Friday night against UCLA with a victory. What do you say?
That'd be awesome. Let's go.
Thank you, Coach Johnson. Terry Johnson, everyone kind enough to join us here in the first half hour of the program as we talk Purdue basketball from the men's side. Purdue men, Friday night at home, 8 o'clock, Mackey Arena against UCLA. We'll take a short break. When we come back on the other side at the top of the hour, it's time to start talking Purdue women's hoops with head coach Katie Gearlds. She joins me next. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Shot blocked right in her face, but rebounded by McCarthy. McCarthy on Hart. Good defense by Hart. Kick back out for three, and good! Rashunda Jones with the first bucket of the game for the Boilers. Hart on the bench now without the 6'5" presence. We'll see good defense there as Layden intercepts that one. Off the bench post player for the Boilers. Catching that one high in the post. Puryear working, going left side, finishing off the glass, protecting your defender at the basket. The Boilers are doing the same with Puryear as some stealthy ball handling there from Lombard. It gets the ball to Swanson and off the mark as the Gophers' shooting woes continue here. 8 of 19 now from the floor. Kick to Swanson, up, good! Sophie Swanson.
Sophie Hart's got 10 of their 22, so Purdue's gonna have to find a way to more effectively guard her.
At the hoop and the finish. Oh my goodness, Rashunda Jones. As quickly as we can see it on one end, it happens on the other. 24-20 now is off the mark for the Gophers, and the Boilers continue running. Lombard able to come down this time. Oh my goodness, with the reverse and the wrist flick. Coming up on 4 minutes to go, under 10 seconds. Step back, Swanson, rainbow. It's raining, and Swanson continues splashing down from three.
Sophie Swanson came over to help Lana McCarthy. It just kind of overwhelmed Hart, who just kind of coughed the ball up.
Swanson splits the pick and roll and finishes at the cup.
Go, and that's the thing that the Boilermakers are gonna have to learn for the rest of this game. You've got to hustle up and down the floor, and you've got to match the energy and the speed of the Gophers.
Swanson now driving. In the post to McCarthy. McCarthy on Hart, drop step, finishing at the hoop. Lana McCarthy. And now she heads to the line looking to complete the three-point play.
Yeah, McCarthy going to the offhand that time. Usually she's more.
Tap.
Welcome back, everyone. Purdue Basketball Live. When we are live tonight from walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Rob Blackman is my name. We're going to talk Purdue women's hoops in about 2 or 3 minutes here. Coach Katie Gearlds is going to join me at the top of the hour to talk about Purdue women's basketball, what they have coming up this week. A game on the road, and then a Sunday game at home for Senior Day for the Boilermakers. Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics through their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Molson Coors, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Riley Children's Health, State Farm Insurance, Toyota, and Wabash. Each are great partners of Purdue Athletics. Before we move along any further, we're near the top of the hour, so let's pause. 10 seconds for station ID. This is Purdue Basketball on the Purdue Basketball Network from Learfield.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're back.
Time now for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers are presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. And tonight we give a tip of the cap to Carson Edwards, the former Boilermaker basketball player who had that magical run in the 2019 NCAA tournament. he's still continuing to do some magical things. Carson currently playing for FC Bayern in Munich, Germany in the Euro League and putting up some pretty impressive numbers. To date, 19 points, 3 assists a game for Carson. His team currently 16-10 on the season. Just to kind of give you a brief overview of how things work in the Euro League, they'll play regular season play right up until April 11th, and then they start postseason play. And the good news for Carson's team, FC Bayern, at least for the moment, is they're in 6th place in the standings. Now, still a long way to go to get to April 11th, but 6th place is good because the top 6 automatically qualify for the playoffs in the Euro League, and then 7 through 10, they have to actually play in a round-robin type tournament to make the tournament, if that makes sense. So you want to be in the top 6 because then you get an automatic berth into the Euro League tournament. So pretty good stuff for Carson Edwards. Not only is he scoring at a high clip, but his team is also doing well at 16-10. So continued success to Carson Edwards in his professional career. The team they're currently leading right now by a game is Paris. Those Parisians. You just never know about those Parisians. But right now, at least, Carson's ball club has a 1-game lead on them in the standings. When we come back, it's time to talk Purdue women's hoops as head coach Katie Gearlds will be my guest. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
The first basket of this game, and I looked over at Kevin McGuffin. He had his head down and he was clapping incessantly. I think he's very pleased with the start that she's had.
Ari Petrie, that's a great point. Coach Gearlds says if that game had happened in early January, we wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, a little bit different. I mean, that's what you see. You see more composure. You see a horn set here by Purdue.
Slowing things down, but Petty wants it in the post against the freshman. The spin move, and she stopped.
She's playing so close to the sidelines, and that's what Ohio State wants to do. They want to force you out.
The freshman versus freshman per year scoring over Lemila. Ohio State now 4 of 10 from the free throw line. Calling her own number is Jones, draining the long 2.
Be their best bet right now to get some quick offense if you're Purdue.
Try and catch Ohio State off guard before their sets. There's a turnover by McMahon.
Free some space.
Free basketball, 21 on the shot clock. Swanson, or rather Collier, gets herself free and knocks it down. That was smooth.
Purdue trying to gain some traction here on the offensive end. This one nicely executed coming off a set.
But Ohio State just carving them up right now. 57% shooting. Jones steps through with the left hand and the soft touch. She made it very clear to us they want to win.
Oh,
but
no doubt.
She's taken this team to 3 straight postseason tournament appearances. Bass for 3, draining it.
When she gets to your body on that spin move, that's night-night, because there's nothing you can do about it. As a post player, you've been taken out of your defensive stance because of that contact.
Per year, a strong move in the middle of the paint. Lucky enough to be around her with the Minnesota Lynx the last couple of years, where she was an assistant under Cheryl Reeve. And just, you're right, pours so much into the players that she coaches, whether they're here at the college level, at the high school level.
They just miss the presence on the
Ball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. Rob Blackman here as we now switch our attention for the final 30 minutes of the program to Purdue women's hoops. Head coach Katie Gearlds is joining me here on the program live from Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. Purdue coming off a loss yesterday to 8th-ranked Ohio State, 98-46 the final. Earlier in the week, last week, since we've last spoken, 2 games have been played. Purdue losing to Minnesota 74-61, a game in which our Boilermakers cut it as close as 3 in the 4th before the Gophers would pull away for the win. So, Coach Gearlds, let's start right there. The Wednesday game, oh so close in the 4th. You had to be proud of the way the group fought back and then just couldn't hold on there down the stretch.
Yeah, honestly played really well in the first half. They had a 2-point lead at halftime. You know, we had a little lead before the end of the second quarter. Got away from us. Second half, couldn't get the ball to go in the basket in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, they had the lead, but you know, we kept crawling back. Had a couple opportunities, And then just credit a Minnesota team who, a 20-win team that found a way to get the win.
20-win team in Big Ten women's hoops. Imagine that. There have been a lot of them this year, and unfortunately, they're all on your schedule.
Yeah, they are.
Including 8th-ranked Ohio State yesterday. Look, in competitive athletics, especially basketball, as you found out, and we already knew this, when you stumble out of the gate against a team as highly skilled and as talented as they are, it's going to be a tough uphill climb, and that's what happened yesterday.
No, that's kind of been the story of our, the story of our year. Just slow starts, and I think they had gone on the road to Indiana and didn't play very well, and came out and kind of on a mission on senior day to kind of send a message right from the beginning, and a punch that we just kept taking. I thought early, their press was slowing us down, but we were still getting shots. We missed a couple layups after breaking their press. We missed a couple shots that, maybe they go in, they don't get out in transition the way they did, because them in transition is, somewhere you do not want to live, and we let them live there, and we really didn't have a chance.
I mentioned they're ranked 8th in the country are the Buckeyes. I didn't look at the updated standings today, but that's where they were yesterday. So that now means 6th time you have played a top 10 team.
Yeah.
And look, the schedule is the schedule. Women's basketball in the Big Ten, it is what it is. I am of the opinion, and obviously I'm not with you guys every day. So if I'm just a crazy man, feel free to tell me that. But I am the opinion you have the worst case scenario going. You got a really good group of young players, and you're playing a really extremely difficult schedule.
Yeah.
Top 5 strength of schedule in the nation. That's never a good combo. Young players against really tough competition.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good setup for us, so to speak. But our young kids have battled. They've continued to work, and if you followed our program from day one, and outside of yesterday's. I've got a lot of words for yesterday that I won't use right now, but before that, we had actually, you could probably see the strides we've been making, right?
Yeah.
Our leading scorer in Big Ten play is a sophomore. Our second leading scorer is a freshman, and you can see like the development that they've had. It just hasn't translated to wins, and for lack of a better word, that just sucks. It's been terrible, but. The group has stayed committed to working as hard as they can and bringing a competitive spirit every day.
I do want to talk about those young players at length, but what I don't want to do is ignore the seniors, because coming up Sunday will be senior day at Mackey Arena. And one of those, Reagan Bass, 8 points, 10 rebounds yesterday.
Yeah.
I know it was in a loss, but even the seniors are still fighting here to the end.
Still battling. And I think in a couple years we're going to look back and maybe we're on a show together, Rob, and we're gonna say, okay, you remember that time we had 2 games left in the Big Ten and only had 2 wins, getting ready to celebrate some seniors. That the freshmen and sophomore now, when they're juniors and seniors, the way they're gonna be able to lead our younger kids, it's gonna be because of Reagan and Ella and Mari and Des, that they've brought a competitive spirit, a competitive joy every single day. It hasn't translated for wins for them, and that's been the hardest thing for me to swallow. Because they have continually worked and have done everything we've asked them to do. But their impact on our program is going to be seen in a couple of years, and maybe one day we can look back and hey, remember that day, because I can see it coming.
Coach Gearlds, assuming I won't have been fired by then in a couple of years, but yes, thank you for the vote of confidence. Look, senior day is Sunday. You just mentioned the impact that the seniors have brought. It hasn't resulted in the wins and losses. Yeah. But from their perspective as a coach, how can I phrase this properly? Are you able to emphasize that to them, and do you think it's getting through to them that, yes, I understand you have not won a lot of games here in your senior year. Everyone likes winning, but your impact is going to be felt way beyond the wins and losses. And more importantly, do you feel like that message is getting through to them? Because it has to be tough for them right now.
Yeah. I think right now in the moment for them as, 22, 23-year-old young women, I think they're competitors, and, I think that they appreciate the words that I'm saying, but until they see it actually happen, I get a lot of head nods, a lot of smiles, all of that. But I think, when they actually see it happen, I think with anything in life, right, and when we're in the moment or hard moments and later in life when we're able to look back and kind of what we were just talking about, like, oh, I had to go through that to get to where I am. And I know that those 4 will always have a special place in the history of Purdue women's basketball because their role has just been as significant as some of the better players that have ever played here.
And I would say, especially from not only the veteran players, but yourself and the coaches that have been around for a while. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think I'm correct on this. Wasn't it, I don't know, January or February of just 2 years ago, you go over to Ohio State and beat those guys when they were second in the country?
They were second in the country.
I mean, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we were, and we got 19 wins. We're in the national tournament. We get to the NCAA tournament and big road win at Illinois, and then took a team over there to Ohio State and found a way to make some shots early, take care of their press, and found a way to win. But not yesterday, Rob.
Well, but my point being, you've been there, you've done that.
For sure.
Some of those underclassmen, they've seen it, so they know it's possible.
No doubt. We got a group that still believes, and I think it's just all about getting some momentum. I think as crooked as it may seem, I think the trains are on a track right now, and it's just a matter of just building momentum and keeping this thing going forward in the right direction.
Well, that momentum can continue on past this week. How does that have to happen? We're going to talk with Coach Katie Gearlds about that on the other side of this timeout. This is Purdue Basketball Live. It's presented by GEMCO. This is the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Very strong from the outside, below 30% of the season, worst three-point shooting team in the Big Ten. Zapawa got free again. First came over on the help, knocked it away. Kohler, late clock,
C.J. Cox, and now a run out.
The leak out to Smith for the deuce.
And that's what Purdue did not get against Wisconsin.
Blackman run against Cooper. Spin, and somehow gets it to go.
That is a varsity level finish there. Trey Kaufman-Wren is going to go to work. Purdue fans going to love seeing him get to that baseline side.
Quick pace to this game in the early going. Purdue already with 4 second chance points. They won't need any here. Braden Smith, that's his moment. Smith will slow it down. Trying to find some organization with this group. Drives on Holloman. Smith to his spot for the bucket. Holloman. Lob it. Carter! Oh, he couldn't catch it cleanly and then had it stripped. Holloman nearly had the steal, now an advantage for Purdue. Smith to Harris, his 3-ball, money. Kohler kept it alive, but Smith comes away with it. Numbers of Purdue hurries. Lawyer, thought about it. Bird all alone.
Get the good help, though. Michigan State going to that Spain action.
Heidi, bullseye.
They're just not guarding it.
Kaufman-Wren steps up. Holloman on the outside, 8 to shoot, doubled in the corner. Holloman ripped through, inside Fiddler, over a double, rejected. 8-point ball game. Purdue, 48% from the floor, just 5 of 13 from downtown, 6 of 8 from the line. Kaufman-Wren, that's a strong take.
I love that action that Purdue runs.
Largest lead for the Spartans tonight. Smith, oh, that's ridiculous. Michigan State up to 75% from the floor in this second half. Kaufman-Wren through the contact and a chance for 3 at Breslin Center so far. Kaufman-Wren kick. Can Heidi do it again?
Purdue Basketball is brought to you in part by Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit union for Purdue fans. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking. Kids eat free on Tuesdays. And as always, our show tonight brought to you by GEMCO Constructors, supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and a proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors says Boiler up. Rob Blackman is my name. Katie Gearlds, head coach of the Purdue women's basketball team, is with me tonight. I told you as we went to the break we're gonna lay out this scenario that allows our Boilermakers to stay alive for Big Ten tournament potential. And here's what it is. 2 games remain on the schedule. Thursday on the road at Penn State, and then Sunday at home for Senior Day against Indiana at Mackey Arena. The most simplest of scenarios here, Coach G, is you win both games you're in.
Period.
That would give you 4 conference wins, and 4 will be good enough to have you in the top 15. Now, if we're not as fortunate to pull off a 2-0 week, if you can beat Penn State on Thursday, then if things don't go well against Indiana, Purdue fans, we have to become big fans of Penn State to beat Rutgers on Sunday.
Right.
So let's beat Penn State and then root for Penn State Sunday.
But also beat Indiana.
That would be fine too. Yes, yes. I'm just trying to put out all the different scenarios here.
Those are the two we have left there. Those are the two scenarios. Can't lose to Penn State and beat Indiana and get in. It doesn't work out that way. So got to find a way to play well on the road and pick up a road win.
Well, typical of the young team. Road wins have been tough this year. 1-8 on the road. I would argue though that Penn State's beatable on the road. No, I mean.
Yeah, they've let's see, they've got one win in league play.
Right.
They beat Ohio State, earlier.
Isn't
in January.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
One win, and it's against a team that's currently ranked in the top 10 in the country.
Yeah. Penn State played really well. Let's give them a lot of credit for that. They played well, and they've been close in some of their home games, or even on the road. They've played teams really well. Just hasn't translated to wins. Going there on their senior night, they've got 5 seniors, that are going to come out, and the same scenario for them. They win 2 games, they're in the Big Ten tournament, so it's not like they're not playing for anything as well. So expect a hard-fought game on Thursday night.
Yeah, the reason Coach Gearlds is talking about the way that scenarios work out, Purdue unfortunately does not have the tiebreaker with Rutgers because Rutgers beat Purdue in head-to-head competition back on February 9th. So that's the different scenarios we're talking about. That's why it has to work out that way. And then, look, wouldn't it be a heck of a way to end the regular season to knock off those Hoosiers on Sunday at Mackey Arena?
Sure would.
But we know it will be a tough task because they're one of the best. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the Big Ten.
No, they have been historically, and a very, very mature veteran group. That I think, Chloe Moore McNeil, their starting point guard, has played 147 college basketball games.
Wow.
In her 5th year. Sid Parrish is in her 5th year. They've got another senior, a junior, and 2 juniors in their starting lineup. And we played well for 3 quarters. We did not play well the first quarter down there. Got punched in the mouth really fast, really early, and then battled back and kept competing. But you hope the last game in Mackey on a Sunday, senior day, we can get that place rocking and give us all the momentum we can.
It's also a blackout game, fans. So when you show up to Mackey Arena on Sunday, wear your black. Don't be wearing your red, okay? If you have red, we're not wearing red. We're wearing black for the blackout on Sunday at 2 o'clock at Mackey Arena. Back to the conversation that we were having before we went to the commercial break. I just jotted down a few notes of the underclassmen and what they have brought to your team this year. Rashonda Jones, just a sophomore, 14 points, 9 assists in the game against Minnesota. Sophomore Sophie Swanson, 18 points. Freshman Kendall Pierce, 16 points. You know this, but for the fans that aren't maybe as familiar, 72% of your scoring in the last 9 games has come from underclassmen. That has to be encouraging. And I know our focus is on Thursday, but that has to be encouraging looking down the road.
No, it is. There's no substitute for game experience, and the young kids that are getting opportunities as freshmen and sophomore. I think all but a couple weeks ago, we were the 2nd youngest team in the Power 4 conference.
Yeah.
Relying so heavily on our freshmen and sophomore to have production. So you hope it bodes well for the future. But in the meantime, you're right. Like, our focus is Penn State and trying to find a way to get a win on Thursday to keep our hopes alive of getting into the Big Ten tournament.
As a coach, and especially one as competitive as you are and were as a player, how do you manage to keep that long-term focus of knowing, man, yes, the losses are mounting, but gosh darn, if we can just hang in there, we're going to be good in a couple years, really good.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of testing the patience, a lot of soul searching. But what's made this year so great is every day we go down to practice. I'm telling you, like, these kids, they work as hard as they can. They have a competitive spirit. They have a competitive joy about them. They take hard coaching. They want to be coached. We've just come up short. And we've talked a lot about, like, just the adversity that we're hitting right now. Like, I can hear Matt say this a couple years ago, like, got to sit in it and all summer,
right.
Like all spring, all summer, all fall, like, I'm going to sit in this,
yeah.
Right? Like, and you got to wear it, and you got to find a way to figure it out. But I think, I'm committed to that, and our young kids are committed to kind of righting the ship here and getting this thing back.
Yeah, he said that numerous times after that loss to Fairleigh Dickinson. There's no running from it. You have to set in it.
Got to.
Try to get better and try to improve. Have you seen the daily growth from those underclassmen?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. You know, on the courts, in a classroom, a maturity of how they handle themselves, whether it's, you know, in the training room, in the weight room, what they're doing on the court to get extra stuff, extra film work in. You've seen that from them. And I think the four our four seniors have led them that way, right? Like Des and Reagan and Ella, Mari, like those guys are in the gym and watching extra film and kind of led them to, you know, show them like, hey, you want to be great, like this is how it's going to be done. You have the talent now. Let's figure out how to piece it all together.
Well, when we visit next Monday night, let's put a lot of focus on those four seniors because they certainly will deserve it. We will have had senior day just the day prior. And also, if you don't mind, Monday, let's be talking about our seed for the Big Ten tournament. Does that sound okay?
Yeah,
Does
that
sound okay,
Thanks,
fans?
Rob.
We'll do that next Monday. Katie, Gearlds, everyone, joining me here on Purdue Basketball Live. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. I say thank you to Coach G, and I tease you with this. I believe, in my humble opinion, I have the greatest nugget I've ever produced. And it's coming next. Stay with us. The final segment of Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Shot blocked right in her face, but rebounded by McCarthy. McCarthy on Hart. Good defense by Hart. Kick back out for three, and good! Rashunda Jones with the first bucket of the game for the Boilers. Hart on the bench now without the 6'5" presence. We'll see good defense there as Layden intercepts that one. Off the bench post player for the Boilers. Catching that one high in the post. Puryear working, going left side, finishing off the glass. Protecting your defender at the basket. The Boilers are doing the same with Puryear as some stealthy ball handling there from Lombard. It gets the ball to Swanson. And off the mark as the Gophers' shooting woes continue here. 8 of 19 now from the floor. Kick to Swanson, up. Good! Sophie Swanson.
Sophie Hart's got 10 of their 22, so Purdue's going to have to find a way to more effectively guard her.
At the hoop and the finish. Oh my goodness, Rashunda Jones. As quickly as we can see it on one end, it happens on the other. 24-20 now. Off the mark for the Gophers, and the Boilers continue running. Lombard able to come down this time. Oh my goodness, with the reverse and the wrist flick. Coming up on 4 minutes to go, under 10 seconds. Step back, Swanson, rainbow. It's raining, and Swanson continues splashing down from three.
Sophie Swanson came over to help Lana McCarthy. It just kind of overwhelmed Hart, who just kind of coughed the ball up.
Swanson splits the pick and roll and finishes at the cup.
Go, and that's the thing that the Boilermakers are going to have to learn for the rest of this game. You've got to hustle up and down the floor, and you've got to match the energy and the speed of the Gophers.
Swanson now driving. In the post to McCarthy. McCarthy on Hart, drop step, finishing at the hoop. Lana McCarthy, and now she heads to the line looking to complete the three-point play.
Welcome back to our final segment of Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. Live tonight at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union. We will be here at 6:30 next Monday night for our final show of the year. Oh, I built up this nugget, so boy, I hope I don't disappoint. I've been working on this project for the last 3 weeks, and the people that have helped me on this project are too many to mention in this small amount of time I have, so it's just a general big thank you to folks from Indiana and Purdue, from across the state of Indiana, sports writers, sports broadcasters, coaches, trainers. I have had a ton of phone calls, a ton of texts, ton of emails back and forth with folks that have helped me with this project, so I want to thank each and every one of them, but I don't have time to do that, so just thanks to all of you. And here it is. I got to thinking about this a few weeks ago. You know, yesterday was the 40th anniversary, right, of Bob Knight throwing the chair when Purdue played Indiana. So for some reason, I started thinking about this. When Coach Knight and Coach Katie played one another, They played each other 41 times. Coach Katie winning 21. Coach Knight winning 20. 41 times. I thought to myself, how many people, either living or deceased, can claim to have been in the building for all 41? Not watching on TV, I made it to all the games at Mackey, or I made it to all the games at Assembly Hall. No. I made all 41. I was in the building. I saw all 41 of them live as they happened. That includes the one in Chicago for the Big Ten tournament, by the way. Any guess, you can hold up your hands, any guess how many people, again, living or deceased, can claim to have seen all 41 live and in person? Just hold up your fingers. How many do you think it could possibly be? I have a guess of 5, 7, 8, 10. The number is 6. 6. These are the ones I can confirm. I'm 99.9% positive. These are the only 6. Bob Hamill, the longtime sports writer for the Bloomington Herald-Times. Even though he retired in 96, he kept going to the games. Coach Knight's last season would have been in 99. Dr. Larry Rink, the longtime IU team physician. I spoke to him on the phone. He confirmed he attended all 41 games. Coach Katie and Coach Knight, obviously, they were there for all 41. Coach Knight, rest in peace. So there's 4. The other 2, this should not come as a surprise. Longtime radio broadcaster for the Indiana Hoosiers, Don Fisher. He saw every single one of them, as did my mentor, Larry Clisby. He made it for all 41 of those games. And may the Clis rest in peace, his beautiful soul. Now, there are others who were close. For instance, Tim Garl, who's the longtime athletic trainer at Indiana. He missed the first 2 because he didn't come to Indiana until November of '81. So he's made it to 39, which is pretty darn cool. 39, but he didn't get to all 41. The thing, now, I want you to stop thinking about that, fans. There are only 6 people that can make the claim they saw all 41 of the Bob Knight, Gene Katie battles live and in person. I will throw out this caveat before we leave. If you can verify with 100% certainty you know of someone that also can make that claim, then you reach out to me. But I'm telling you, after 3 weeks of exhaustive research, I am damn sure positive there's only 6 people that can make that claim. I hope that's the greatest nugget of all time. I certainly feel like it is. Purdue women Thursday night at Penn State. Purdue men Friday night at home with UCLA. Purdue women Sunday at home with IU. Let's go Boilermakers. Let's get this train back on the tracks. What do you say? For Wes and Hunter, I'm Rob. Have a great night, everyone, and have a great week.